how to, I take professionalism in business very seriously. So the way I come across, the way I handle myself in business is what I learned is how to be a professional. And that's all I know.
See that, ladies and gentlemen? See, and I didn't even know all of that. But I said she was standing on business from day one. And that's what our children and people need to see. Yes, we can be black and be cultured and refined. And we know we can get down and do what we need to do if we have to. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to separate when it's off time and when it's on time.
Exactly.
I think some of us have an issue. Well, I got to keep it real no matter where I go. I said, yeah, what kind of thinking is that? Because you keeping it real in one situation may prevent you from getting back in that situation because you want to keep it real so much. Yeah. But let's tell us the journey, because you came out of Treadwell. How did you get in? What was it that said, this is my field? Was it high school, college? Talk about your journey.
I look back in my yearbook and I said, in my yearbook, I'm going to go to Grambling State and I'm going to major in public relations.
You said that?
In my yearbook, yes. I did go to Grambling. I went to University of Memphis, but I went to Lane College too. Shout out HBCU.
Shout out HBCU, yep.
I went to Lane for my freshman year. I played volleyball there. And then I transferred to Memphis. And I said public relations was it for me. I love to schmooze. I'm a outgoing people person, and so that's what I wanted to do. And I looked into it more, realized it had to have a journalism background. I've been reading since the age of 3, writing since 5 or 6 years old, writing stories, and I wanted to.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Now, I know you're professional right now, but you said you were reading since 3.
Yes.
Writing since
5 or 6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What, was your parents sticklers, or this something that you just...
My mom was a person that, I don't know what, she was, 21, 22, but God told her, hey, let's teach this baby how to walk at 7 months. Let's teach her how to read at 3.
You walked at 7 months?
Yes. I didn't crawl. I just got up and walked.
Ladies and gentlemen, who we got in this studio? Hey, Kev, man, put me. Hey, do y'all know it? Hold up. She said walked at 7 months, started reading at 3, writing at 5 or 6. Do we got a child prodigy up in here or something?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Wow.
But those are the things that were instilled in me, growing up. And it's like, that's what I want to do. And I love to write. I wanted to be a novelist, but PR was that area. And then I got into journalism and worked for the college paper at Memphis, was the first black female sports editor there.
You were?
Yeah.
Wow, the first.
And open the door for the next.
That's how you got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Open the door for the next.
Yeah.
So was it at Memphis when you got the bug, or you just knew you wanted to do it before you even got to Memphis?
I always knew. I always knew I wanted to do it.
At high school you wrote.
Yeah, in high school I wanted to do it, but I didn't know what all it took to be there. I just knew what I saw on TV, like the schmoozing and, that kind of thing.
Right.
But it is a lot of skill sets. And initially broadcasting was kind of the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to take some courses at least to see if I liked it. I've done everything in journalism, probably just about. So whether it's writing magazines, newspaper, now that I've gone and do my own thing, I've done podcasting, I've done a lot of other things as well. So I just love journalism. I love the art of communication. And it's just fascinating to me to study it and to teach others how to communicate better.
Now, in communication, like we tell people, communication rules the nation, right?
Oh, yes, for sure.
And you worked in different places, different conferences and sports and all of that. Talk to the people about how important it is to communicate and build relationships.
Okay.
Because I think some of us, my name is this, so everybody they gonna mess with me because my name is XYZ. And that's not how it goes down when you're trying to build a relationship.
So, John, there's times when you should keep it real, and there's times, and there's a way to keep it real in a situation, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep it real.
Okay.
A closed mouth don't get fed.
Period.
Right. Building relationships is so key. I will say throughout, and also faith and favor, all those things,
all play a part.
They all play a factor. So I would say for me, it was really just trying things. Didn't know I just knew nobody else is trying to step up and be sports editor. I want to do it. I'm a woman. Who's going to say, not thinking, oh, this is a road that has never been traveled before. But
Because it's male dominated. Right.
but I believe in the road less traveled. I believe in it strongly. And so what pushed me into that direction of sports and PR was being an athlete, the love of writing. I had a career-ending injury where I broke my wrist in a car accident, have plate, screws, all that. Blessed to be here today.
Yes, ma'am.
Really. But I will say that that's what propelled me to do what I was doing, and also to see that, guess what? There aren't a lot of women doing this. Right. I can forge a path here.
Wow.
So it's really thinking outside the box, thinking of new ways to opportunities to present yourself. And I really stress to young people a lot about just doing yes, you want to be an athlete, you want to do this, but there's so many other jobs in the sports world that you could do. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So yeah, I mean, we bond over that, that sports life and just being courtside at games, working games, being at NCAA tournaments and Final Fours and all kinds of stuff I've been to.
Do you miss it?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Once it started feeling like work, I felt like it was time to go. When I was having fun and didn't feel like work, it was beautiful. So watching courtside, seeing Carmelo as a freshman in the NCAA tournament, just those kind of things.
Those moments that that are memorable.
Those memorable moments, being at a women's Final Four and seeing UConn, Diana Taurasi, and all these people, like just
the greats,
right.
You saw it in person, live and direct,
and had friends in that world, So, So
how do you think sports journalism nowadays, 2024, right? That's, some people say you got to be loud and all crazy, but you can still tell sports information and news with a straight face, sitting upright, without yelling into the mic and the theatrics.
Yes.
What do you see the change, or if you see a change, or what do you think has happened to sports journalism from back when you was in to now?
So the person I looked up to the most in sports journalism was Robin Roberts.
Okay.
Robin Roberts was my mentor. I met her at University of Memphis. I was she came and spoke. I did a story on her. We connected. She became my mentor. Every time I called her, she would call me back.
Wow.
Yes. Robin was that girl. And so, and she was the only black woman at that time doing it,
Right.
And of course, the late, great Stuart Scott.
Yes.
And he had his catchphrases and stuff. But it really is about being yourself. That's every personality that you see is unique in they're themselves. They're not trying to be something that they're not. If you like to say, "Hey, booyah," say it. But don't do it because you think that's what someone wants you to do. Find that lane that's for you. Forge that path for you. So
that's major, because I remember, sometimes sports journalists got in hot water for taking a stance or speaking out against the norm or speaking against a president, all that stuff. And you see these things, and say you're not in it, but you miss it and you don't. But like when you see certain things come out, whether it's local politics, sports, or what have you. And do you be like, well, if I was their PR person, I would have did it like this? Or are you, I don't want to say constructively criticizing, or you're like, oh, they should have pivoted over here, or they should have did this? Or you looking at it like, man, it's the game has really changed?
I think, yes, the game has really changed. Okay. It has really evolved. But I also see a big opportunity for people to get the training, the media training and the coaching, and to know how to handle situations. Because on the one hand, that controversy helps you blow up. You know what I mean?
And in now some with social ways, media, now you blow up.
So like you said, like the instance with Jemele Hill, she caught a lot of flack and, eventually left ESPN and, all that stuff. But it also created a name for her, in a way that she was able, and this is what PR also does for you, is it allows you to, once you've built a reputation for yourself, especially one that is positive, a lot of negative daggers can't fully destroy you. There's time where you can come back. Chris Brown is a great example but he still kind of gets in trouble.
Yeah.
So I feel like if he had done some things to completely turn the tide, like got involved with domestic violence programs, spoke out against it, was more, you know what I mean? I made a mistake and here's how I want to correct it kind of vibe. He could have restored his whole image.
Really?
I feel that he could have.
Wow.
For sure.
So when you give, now I want you to talk to the students. Because when we say PR, we know what it is, but kind of give in layman's terms to the young people that's watching, because young students, young men and women, she's here because I want her to be an example. She's showing you, she's telling you what she's about and what she's been doing, but I want you to break down public relations, like in a nutshell, like this is what it is.
Okay. So my cousin, who was 15 at the time, when I explained to her what it was, she said, "Oh, you the plug." I said, "Yeah."
In her language,
basically. But what I do, public relations is a form of strategic communications. So under strategic communications, there's public relations, there's marketing, there's advertising, there's these different lanes under that. But public relations is that part of how do you relate to people? What is the message? How do you persuade audiences? How do you target
audiences?
Persuade audiences. Like, how do you
That's legal?
Well, I think it happens every day. So when you're watching a commercial, you're hearing word of mouth. Oh, I love da 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 da. These influencers, they're persuading people.
That's right.
To buy stuff. But public relations, as far as what I do, is a mix of a lot of writing. You have to have a strong writing background. I say that particularly particularly a journalism background, because it helps you to write in the way and think like a journalist. And that's why I did write for the newspaper. I did learn all of the facets of journalism to be able to write in a way that media will gravitate to. I persuade them to cover my clients' stories. I persuade them to maybe take a negative situation and maybe make it positive, or perhaps not even report on it. I have in building those relationships, as we talked about earlier, it's so key, because I can pick up the phone and call a reporter and say, "Hey, that's my client, da 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 da," and they're they may decide not to do the story, or I'm going to make sure my client's side of the story is heard. We're going to get the fairness going. It's reputation management. So managing images of people, like not always celebrities. I do it for businesses. I do it for nonprofits. I do it for individuals who I believe have a strong message and have a cause that I believe in. But, as far as like doing it for entertainers and things like that, of course, you're the one in the background. You're always in the background. Right. That's the thing. You're always in the background.
You're not all up in the video.
Okay, right. So I think it's kind of a thankless job if it's done well. If it's done well, but if it's not, people pay attention to every little thing that goes wrong. So it's crisis communications when things happen. It could be something as simple as a business had a fire at their business, or it could be embezzlement. It could be a scandal of some sort. It could be anything that requires you to be able to go in front of the media and talk about what the problem is, how we're fixing it, letting your customers, the public, or whomever, what we call stakeholders. Yes. So stakeholders can be anything from the customer to people who invest in your business, to anybody related, the community that you live in. Those are stakeholders. Those things that touch around you. So I have done it all. Like I was telling you, like being a journalist at the Winter Olympics and doing all kinds of things. And so
that gives you access too, right?
Absolutely. I still have friends in that world. Still have and we'll get into it, but I'll talk about my podcast and some of the people I had on there, because they come from all walks of my journey in life that I've had on my podcast.
So in all that you're saying, like, what would you say you've learned through the years? Like, have you learned something from PR in the political sphere, PR in the sports sphere. Like, what's some of the things you learned through the process?
Okay, so I learned PR and politics are both blood sports, but but I will say that across those fields, like I could do communications in any industry. Like it doesn't matter. It's just you're learning that particular industry. So with sports, it's a business first.
Right.
It's a business first. And you have to understand what the bottom line is with any business. What are the goals of that business and how do you communicate to those different groups and audiences? So like the fans in the sports world, or the coaches, or the players, or the front office, like all these different stakeholders, as I mentioned, you have to have different messaging for. You could take the same, let's say you have the same message, but you got to say it differently to each of these groups so it resonates with them.
That's right.
You have to say it 5 different ways.
Dang. See? Y'all peeping this. I hope y'all taking notes, or when you rewind it and play back, make sure you take these notes.
Yeah.
But so, what was your biggest moment?
My biggest moment.
That you feel like, what was your biggest personal moment?
The Olympics were huge for me.
Really?
Like,
the Olympics?
The Olympics, to be at the Winter Olympics.
Which one?
The 2002 games in Salt Lake City. The Winter Olympics.
Okay.
So to be, first of all, a little girl from Tennessee.
In Salt Lake City.
In Salt Lake City. Covering the Olympics.
Oh, that's huge.
And knowing the athletes personally, because I'd worked for U.S. Bobsled and I lived in Lake Placid, so I knew all of the athletes. There were skiers and bobsledders and lugers and all the winners athletes trained up there.
Okay.
So I knew them already. And so I covered bobsled, luge, which is where you slide feet first, and then skeleton is like luge, but you're sliding head first on your stomach.
Man. So you know all this stuff. That's the sports lingo over there.
Yeah, and to be around international media, I made a great friend he was a writer for USA Today, and he was like my guy at the Olympics. I was there for a month. So to be around these people, and then they saw, all the athletes coming and hugging me after they win. They're like, they know her. They know her.
Like,
so
she got an inroad with them folks.
Exactly.
She got the exclusive.
Exactly. So, but those relationships I built along the way opened so many doors for me once I, left home. Like, I encourage everybody, every child, every person listening to me, if you can, leave home for a little while, but come back.
But come back. Disclaimer, but come back.
Get that experience of seeing other places, other environments, working for I've worked in state government, so I understand how things work, and working for, the New Jersey legislature, for instance, to come back here and work in local government, but to see different perspectives on things here and what could be better based on what I've seen elsewhere.
You think we need help?
Yes.
If y'all would have saw that quick look, she gave that quick look like,
don't make me sit back. Yes, we definitely need, we need succession planning. Succession planning. You cannot stay there forever. And we need to be preparing folks, and not just our kids, okay?
Woo, yes, ma'am.
And I'm saying some stuff.
But that's real. But look, little Johnny, he may not even want to do that.
Exactly.
He might want to do something totally different.
Exactly.
But you want to keep the money train, the gravy train coming. Well, let me go ahead and build you up, and they're going to end up hurting you in the long run.
Right. So it's more, when I think about our community, I think about the village. I think about not just my niece or who's close to me. Every child is mine.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So I'm going to do the things. I'm going to plant the trees today that they will live under the shade.
That's right.
I won't.
Right.
But I have to prepare them to be ready for what it is to take over this city and the future of this city.
Right.
And if we are not investing, and this is where I beat my drum a lot.
Go ahead and beat it.
We're not investing in education. Like that quote about Frederick Douglass, it takes less to educate a man than to imprison one. That's right. That if we, and it's all, and from I don't
You
want
with
to
your
say
brother.
look, I don't want to say too much.
You with your brother, you good.
But I will say that, it's all a game. It's all a game.
It's all a game.
And so what's happening in Nashville with the vouchers and all this stuff that's going on, they're trying to destroy public education, in my opinion.
Right.
It's my opinion.
Right.
I'm
right.
not,
Right.
So the investments that need to be made, particularly in this city, is not going to be just around parents or people like yourself. It's going to be me. It's going to be everybody. If we don't stand up to the crime in this city, it takes all of us to stand up to that.
Everybody.
Like, if we take a stand and say, we're not tolerating these from these kids, we're not tolerating this from people, and then there's another issue of that you have to look very deeply at. I say literacy.
Ooh, my man, I got to pause. Sam O'Brien III. I know he's somewhere jumping up and clapping right there. He's the CEO of Literacy Mid-South, and he says that all the time.
If you think about it, and I've had people tell me this, that's why I talk about professionalism. We learn how to dress like when I was in 9th grade, how to dress professionally, how to go out,
9th grade?
How to interview for jobs, how to do all of that. And so it's so important that, you show up to a job fair and you're wearing bonnets, you're wearing slippers, and I know people do the best you can. You may not have the finest of everything, but be the most presentable that you can be
with what you have
to make that right and to make that impression. But what I've also heard from a lot of people is that people can get a job, but they can't keep it because they're functionally literate. They can't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to comprehend. It's hard to do. You know what I mean?
Hit them with something that they ain't never heard
or
before.
Have to read things that they don't.
Yes.
So that's an area that we have to take very seriously in our city is literacy.
And that's everybody thing.
Yeah.
That's your workforce. It's like
that's what I'm
somebody had
saying.
brought to my attention that all the warehouse jobs, like when Amazon was thinking about coming here, and they were saying, well, it's not a lot of tech folks here. Like, it's not a tech city, right?
Right.
We're a warehouse city.
Right.
And I slick was like, wait a minute, hold up. And I started thinking, okay, yeah, we do got a lot of warehouses. And then I'm like, well, the education, this is no shade to anybody that work in a warehouse, but I'm talking about from those folks that office is on the top floor. They look at someone, well, yeah, they all cool. They just need to we're offering them a job and we're giving them good benefits. And they push that as a narrative. Yo, get a job over here, man. We got good life insurance. And it's like, but yo, what if I want to be a CEO one day?
Right.
But you just, I want you to be right here. Pack this box.
Right.
And get this, 401k and all this stuff.
And that's why we have to take it upon ourselves.
There you go.
We have to want it. We have to want more for ourselves. We have to say, you know what? This is not good enough for our city. This is not good enough for our future.
Right.
So, yes, those jobs are necessary. Absolutely necessary. But we also need to have an educated workforce.
That's it.
Period. I don't care what
Right.
they go off and do in life. They may want to work in a warehouse, but you will be educated enough to go anywhere that you want to go.
That's real. I agree 1,000% with you. I remember it was a former superintendent some years ago. I think Dr. Cash was the superintendent.
Chronic Cash, yep.
Chronic Cash. I had to drive him from, he was meeting, I'm not going to say the company, but he met with a company here in the city. And he told him, he asked the CEO, I would love to bring some students up here to see the view from the CEO level, right? Because again, like, I want you here because you'll be an example for those that's watching, right? So his mindset was, you're an example. You're at the top of this company. If you had some of our students, some of our black and brown students, come see here, maybe that will inspire them to want to be a CEO. He said, Dr. Crash told me, yeah, I've created other jobs for them. Dr. Cash was very upset when he left that meeting. And I was upset too, because I'm like, so we can't be the CEO?
So this is where I'm telling people that this is something that can't be taught. That's drive and that's initiative.
Drive
And initiative.
Okay.
Drive is
Look in that camera and say those two words.
drive and initiative.
Okay.
Drive to propel yourself to do something that you really want to do, and the initiative to ask and to make relationships and to get those things that you want. So, for instance, I had a great story. So when I was working, I worked at the Ivy League for the Ivy League conference in Princeton, New Jersey. So a little girl from Memphis is going to Harvard and Yale and Dartmouth and Columbia and Cornell.
Ivy League schools.
The Ivy League schools,
Right.
yes. So I'm all these schools, rolling with the wine and cheese crowds, doing all this different stuff. But it was, learning experience for me to learn the social graces of that world. You know what I mean? But I remember wanting to be a GM for an NBA team. That was my dream back in the day.
Okay.
And so I said, who is doing it at a high level that I admire? And at the time, it was Jerry West,
Okay.
the legend, the
legend,
logo.
the logo, the man on the logo.
And he was the general manager of the Grizzlies at the time.
Okay.
And I remember, but when I was in Colorado sending letters to the Grizzlies before they even they were still in Vancouver. I was like, I want to work for the Grizzlies when you get to Memphis. Like,
Wow.
that's the initiative
That's
that
the
you
initiative.
have. That's
Yeah.
what you have to have. So when I saw Jerry West was in Memphis, I said, I'm going to write him a letter. And I wrote him a letter, a really good letter.
It was a good one.
Oh,
This was before AI. Now, this was before AI.
Yes, I
ma'am.
sat down, wrote him a letter, typed it up, put it on my Ivy League letterhead, dropped my business card in there, looked a real official,
Professionalism. Yeah, official.
And I remember talking to my supervisor, and I said, Jerry West hadn't called me back. Ooh. And he said, Keish, it's Jerry West. I said, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the president of the United States. If I put something in the universe, I expect a result. But a couple of days later, my coworker sticks his head in my office. He says, Jerry West is on the phone for you? I said, oh, yeah. I was waiting on that.
But you believed that, you knew that because you put it in the atmosphere.
That, and also I had built relationships with people at the WNBA. I had been in the offices. I had met everyone from the COO down. When I was in college, I was sending letters every week to this guy at the NBA who was over the internship program.
Okay.
And I was sending him a letter every week. I never heard back from that man. And when I walked through the NBA headquarters, I saw his name on the door. His door was closed. I was like, I just want to see his face.
Right, you just want to see his face, right.
But it just, that's the type of initiative that you have to have.
Wait. You got to go back to
to Jerry West.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Folks on social media like,
wait
Jerry
a minute.
West on the phone?
Yeah. So I was like, I was waiting on that call. And so I pick it up, and it's Jerry West. And we talked about 15 minutes. He said, I got your letter. It was so good, la, la, la. And I told him my dream of being a GM in the NBA and what I wanted to do. I know before that, because I worked at the Ivy League, I would travel around to games. I met Jerry Krause, who used to be GM of the Bulls,
right.
and BJ Armstrong, who he was training to be
who
was a scout at the time.
Okay, a scout. Okay.
I think his name was John Nash. He was the GM of the Sixers.
Okay.
I was meeting these people and being in position. God puts you where you need to be when when you want something and you push for it.
Come on.
He will meet you halfway and put you where you need to be.
That's right.
Right? So meeting all these people opened the door for that call from Jerry West. And all my coworkers are in my door like
they
all like, she's talking to Jerry West.
You better not move. Don't move.
Exactly. And so although Jerry West was very nice and pleasant, I left the call a little bit discouraged because he said that I should go the WNBA route. And I was like, no, I want to earn my stripes.
Ooh.
I like to go the road less traveled.
Right. Yeah, he ain't know who was on the other line.
Right.
He knew, but he didn't know.
Right.
Wow.
Right. I like to go the road less traveled. I get beat up along the way, but guess what? I'll take those licks for somebody else to come behind me and another one to come behind me.
Right. That's real.
Yeah.
That's it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I'm here with the one and only Kesha Whitaker in the building, talking about her life and her journey. And she's here because I want her to be an example to not only our young folks in Memphis Shelby County schools, but some of our people that's thinking about getting into journalism or, thinking about PR or wanting to get into a PR job. She said PR and politics is, you said, a blood sport.
I said sports and politics.
Sports and politics.
Are both blood sports.
Or both blood sports. I want to talk about politics now.
Sure.
Everybody say if you get in politics, you gotta sling mud and you gotta make another person look bad. Mm-hmm. Somebody sent a message to me the other day saying they were praying for me because I have to walk a fine line. Mm-hmm. And they knew I had to walk a fine line, right? And they were saying, in this world, John, you have to be careful how you are perceived. Mm-hmm. Even though you may be on something totally different, but in this politic game, they can look at you and see something and say, oh, he with that person or he's supporting this person. And they were just saying, and I appreciated that because I was like, I was really walking the line. But some people don't care about no line. They're going to talk to who they want to talk to, do what they want to do. But I always saw that as a person that you might can't trust. So in the political game, from your vantage point, how does one maneuver and make it through the mudslinging and all of this when it's election time? And it seemed like some people might be having bad days, and then they read the comments, they read the headlines. It's like, am I in the right game, right field? But it seemed like, but if you can make it through that, you may be successful in the end.
Well, two things. I think I've been fortunate because working in communications, one, you're very needed. It's very necessary. Like I was writing speeches. I was writing talking points. I was putting together press conferences. I'm writing the words that these people are saying. Right. But it also requires me to be a strategic thinker. It's like chess, not checkers. Okay. And I think that, and I'm trying to be very diplomatic when I say this, because I work for Democrats, I work for Republicans. I'm what you call, I'm a hired gun.
You're a hired gun.
I'm a hired gun. I hate that is the way politics is. Like they see, oh, you worked for a Republican and I don't want to deal with you because you work with a Republican. Right. But I don't work with people that I don't necessarily believe in. That's first of all.
So that's off top for you.
Off for me. So my core values are integrity, intention, and inclusion. So I've been in spaces where I've had to be, quiet and sit by the door and hear things being said that I can't do anything about in that moment, or I can't speak up about.
Right.
That bother me. But because I'm privy to that information, I can now figure out what the next step is for me, as well as what this person, if they listen to me, and because I counsel and advise them on what they need to say. Right? So how do you handle that situation? How do you handle the media? How do you handle the mudslinging? I stay above board. I don't get in mud with people.
I got you.
Now, I will speak facts.
Okay.
I will check you with the facts. But I don't believe in making somebody look bad for someone else to look good.
Yeah,
that's not the way I live my life. Right. And so if I'd rather not take on an opportunity if it's going to require me to do something that is not within my my moral compass or my integrity or whatever. There were times where I walked away from the New Jersey legislature because it just felt so.
A little different up there.
It was way different up there.
Different,
but it felt like a lot of smoke and mirrors, and my job to spin things that weren't necessarily true. But I had the ear of legislators. I could say, hey, this bill could be a little bit stronger if da-da-da-da, But there was a world, too, of, dealing with Me Too before you knew what Me Too was. It's a buzzword now. Everybody know but back then before it was that. Yeah, they didn't want to accept Anita Hill, with her stuff coming. Like it was, maybe 10, 15 years after her, but still, it was still
going on.
taboo, and it was still like, it's their word against mine. I don't know what to say and how to handle this situation. So there's a lot of stuff that made me want to get out of politics back then. But now, as an older and wiser woman, I've done it since then.
Okay.
You know, working in government, working for elected officials, working on campaigns and supporting candidates that I believe in. But it also, like I said, any industry, I can work it because the structure or the theory of communication is the same across the board. You're just talking about a different subject matter.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I got now that you're here, you know, you in my lane, and I love it. Do you think there's a difference between power and influence?
I would say yes, because you don't have to have money to have influence. You have to have money to have power. That's my
I got you.
my
That's what I'm
definition to me.
Uh-huh.
And then how you use that, which goes back to the intention piece. But I think influence, I mean, the lady, the candy lady in the hood has influence over the people there, just like a politician has in another space, in another realm, right? If not more.
Right.
If not more.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Because she's touching the people every day.
Right.
You can have power and not use it correctly.
Right.
You can have power and use it and use it to your own gain and your own benefit, which is what we see a lot in the political world. It's about personal agendas more than it is about how do we really serve the public.
Yes.
Yeah. And when
influence the public to
exactly
do right. Or
so there's a lot of apathy from the public and from voters around politics and voting and all of that, and a lot of that stems from voter education.
Education, there go that word
Education, voter education, just knowing what's, and shout out to Leaders of Color, which is a program I went through. It's a national program that teaches Black and brown people how to run for office from soup to nuts.
Really?
Yes, from how to be a candidate, how to be an operative on a campaign, how to do fundraising, how to be an advocate, how to go
They still have this program?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I might want to talk to
them.
them.
I'll send you. I would love. Yeah, I'll get.
That might be good because we
Maria on here. Maria, if you're listening, girl.
Yeah, we need to see you, Maria. We need to see. We need to see you and a couple of folk. We need to talk to y'all because that is right. That voter education. Like matter of fact, and yes, we need to do that because somebody, Mario Thomas, the dentist, Dr. Mario.
Yep, Dr. Mario.
Smiles, he sent me something and it hit me. He said, John, we need to know who our people that's representing us. Who's representing us in Nashville? Who's representing us here in Memphis?
And if they're actually representing us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when he first asked me, and Dr. Mario, if y'all know Brother Thomas, man, tell him I'm glad she said that because it sparked it. It was like, some of us don't know who our folks are. And it's some, we know it's people that do know.
Right.
But if you put up somebody's face and say, well, what district do they represent? They may not know the name or the district.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I wanna make my brother's wish come true. I reached out to London, I reached out to Agbari, and they said they will be down. But I think we really need that education piece, like take a step back and go back to like the basis of what is a county commissioner, what is a school board member, what is a city council, you know what I'm saying? And what they stand for, what they do.
Right.
Because I think some of us have like took it for granted and we just fell in love with a name.
It is okay, so it's marketing. It's marketing. It's
y'all hear that from a PR person? She telling us the secrets, ladies and gentlemen.
It's marketing. It's name recognition, right? While the Ford family has been, being able to run and just continue because they built a reputation, they built a name in the political space, right? And so when people are
and that's facts, ladies and gentlemen. She's speaking facts,
right? And so I think there has to be a way to level the playing field in some ways in politics and government, but we also have to okay. I don't want to go too far.
I got you.
Because I have a business to run.
I got you. Yes,
but
ma'am.
I will say that there has to be a process for putting forth and selecting the best candidates for the job.
Most definitely.
Okay?
Right.
We can't have 17 people running for mayor. We need to figure out and see who is the best candidate to lead our city.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I think there has to be some of that going on. There needs to be more of that, but we have to be educated and we have to know really voice the issues that are important to us.
Right.
Because people can, if we're driving we're driving the message, like as a people, like let's say Fraser, Orange Mound, where there's strong White Haven for sure. Parts of town, because guess what? They're doing it in Collierville. They're doing it in Germantown. They're doing it, so
Facts.
We have to be more involved. We just have to be more involved.
We got to do more than hit a like button or a share button.
Exactly.
That's a part, but you got to do a little more than that.
And if there's a candidate that you believe in strongly, there's ways to support that candidate. Mostly they need dollars. If it's a good candidate, put your dollars behind that candidate. It could be $5, $10, whatever you have, put something behind that candidate.
Right.
That's one thing. The other thing, volunteer. Go out, knock on doors,
Right.
pass out flyers. That's easy voting.
That's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, very low-hanging fruit. But it makes a huge difference.
Right.
If you go out, and especially if it's that candy lady,
Right.
she's in the neighborhood and she said, "Hey, y'all, tell your mama to vote for so and so. Put drop a little something in their little bag to take home."
Influence.
Yeah. Influence. But more than that, go out and talk about, these are issues that we need to be on top of. These are the things that we care about. And it could be as simplistic and drilled down as, I'm tired of this trash being on the ground every day.
Right. We got to do something about this.
Right.
That's real. That's real.
It is that simple. So I'm here. I'm ready to work.
And ladies and gentlemen, I know y'all like, Brother John, what you doing up there? Yes.
Because you got me talking about all kind of stuff that...
Remember back to what I said.
Yeah.
An example. Imagine the little boys and girls that's watching this like, I want to be in PR now.
Yeah.
Mom, I want to be like that. I just posted a story this morning. When the Deltas was up here.
Delta, right here.
Oh, you're a Delta. Yes, ma'am. All right.
All right.
Well, when the sisters was up here, one of them was a doctor. I think it was Leigh Brooks, Dr. Leigh Brooks. She works at one of the local hospitals, right? So she said that she was like the only black doctor in that field, neurology. It was a big title, right?
Right.
I get an inbox, and the person says, my daughter wants to go in this field, wants to be in this field. And they went and did research, initiative, back to what you were saying.
Right.
What was the word?
Initiative. Drive and initiative.
Drive and initiative. She went and they found out that it was only 2 black women doctors or something in this area. And it was like, the daughter became intrigued, but she said some of the family members were telling the daughter, ain't no money in that, or you're not going to, some money in that, right? So me being a connector, I shared the message with the Delta. She said, oh my goodness, we gonna have to bring her up here.
Yep.
So he was over here about a month and a half ago. So the young sister went yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And met the other black doctor. That's a woman. And I got the picture on my page. And they said they were so excited to see her, they want to invite her back.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you got, it's education, but to see that young sister, because the example was her saying she was this special kind of neuroscience something doctor, that's the same thing I want to be. That's why you're here for today. And ladies and gentlemen, I asked her yesterday. She was here like, yo, I'm here. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready is what she told me. But those are the types of things I'm trying to subliminally, create. Because they say PR, hey, you need to watch this video of this person that was talking about PR. And to me, I feel like I'm doing my work in my lane.
Let me say this. I come from a single parent home. Mom worked 2 jobs. I followed her example. When I was 15, I was working 2 jobs in the summertime. I worked all through I've been working since then. I have not stopped working since I was 15.
Wow.
Okay? So, to be a little girl from Mitchell Heights, single parent home, had a lot of, trying to be a responsible oldest daughter type of deal, me and my brother. So
big sis.
Yeah, trying to do all that. I think I will say this, and I'm going to say it very plain. I went into journalism because that was my love and my passion and something that I always wanted to do. However, I should have listened to my mom when she told me to major in Spanish, because I do love Spanish also, and to become a translator and that kind of thing.
Wow.
So what I will tell every first generation college student, if you're a child that comes from a single parent home, and you come in and you'll be the first one in your family to go to college or whatever it is that you're going to do, go into a field that is going to pay you well. Okay?
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
your engineering. Those are your STEM jobs, your engineering, your research, your pharmacy. Those things pay well.
Right.
And guess what that does? You're changing in one generation. You know what I mean?
The trajectory
and so,
changes.
Right. So, if I could do it all over again, I still would have done what I'm doing now because I love it.
That's in you.
That's in me. But guess what? I could have been writing in Spanish. I could have been doing, which I can read it a little bit. I can do, I can do all it. I'm not fluent, but I know enough to make conversation with people sometimes. So, I just highly encourage first generation for sure to go into a lucrative field.
There it is. See?
Yeah.
And see now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even have to ask her a message to the folks, because that's the message right there. She was dropping jewels all day. Is there anything else you want to share with the folks before we go? Because you covered it. I do want to ask about the podcast too.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about your podcast.
Okay.
What's it about?
Okay.
And how folks can get to it.
So during the pandemic, I lost my dad. I lost my baby, my dog I had for 13 years. Both of them lost to cancer in the same year. And so I had this dream of doing a podcast for like 3 years before that. It was just sitting there as a seed. When God puts something on you, puts a seed in you,
it's going to germinate.
It has to grow at some point. It may not be right away, but it has.
Coming.
Yeah. So I was like, I can do this podcast thing because I'm a Toastmaster. They teach you how to do podcasts and Toastmasters a little bit, or that's part of their curriculum. And I said, I'm doing a podcast. So I researched it thoroughly, learned everything about how to put a podcast together, and launched it in 2 weeks. I already kind of had the framework, but I put that thing together, and 2 weeks later, I was go time.
Right.
And it's called Succeeding Over All Roadblocks Lifecast. It was something at that time where I wanted to talk about roadblocks, things because we were going through a challenging time during the pandemic. So I want to talk to people who've overcome unthinkable challenges, things that have changed their lives, and what they went through, what they learned, how did they handle it as they were going through it, and then what did they learn from it at the end. So that was the premise of it. And I had everybody on there, like from all of my journey. I had a 5-time Olympian, 2-time silver medalist. She's like the Michael Jordan of women's volleyball, was on there. A good friend of mine, Danielle Scott. I had a Toastmaster who won he ended up winning second place or third place in the World Championship of Public Speaking.
Wow.
I've had people from, like, one of my friends from high school. He's a comedian named Henry Coleman. He's been on Def Comedy Jam, all kinds of stuff. I had Carolyn Hardy, Millionaire, on there, Kanji Anthony. I My biggest one to date was Karen Parsons from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was Hillary Banks.
Yeah.
So I just worked at it. It ended up getting like, at the time, at its height, was getting like 2,000 downloads a month for kind of an upstart podcast. That's pretty good.
Good numbers.
It was in 25 countries. It was #1 in India among motivational podcasts. And this is just me trying something, okay?
Right.
But also, I had that journalistic background. And I learned every facet of it, from producing to hosting to editing, promotion. Like I did the whole thing by myself. Wow. And that's a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of work. And then for it to have that type of success, I was super, super proud of that. And I will be doing that again. I will be bringing that back. But the other thing I want to talk about and switch gears on is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is so important. That's when I talk about making a lane for yourself. If I spoke at juvenile court, at the school, what is the school called over there?
Hope Academy.
Hope Academy, yes. Spoke at the school, and I saw all these boys in orange jumpsuits, and it broke my heart. So one of them asked, I was there as, in my official capacity.
Your professional self.
Yes. So I was there with the elected official.
Okay.
So he asked him, how can my mom get ahead? She's working on this and that, check to check, and she's struggling. And how can she
genuine question.
Genuine question. And he answered it, but it wasn't a sufficient answer to me. So I pulled the teacher aside. I said, can I speak to them just by myself? And so when he stepped out, I said, look, y'all breaking my heart in here to see y'all like this. I said, do you realize?
You straight up with him like
yeah,
that.
I said, do you realize that they're preparing beds for you at the prison because you're here?
Yep.
They expect you to be there. They're counting on you to be there. I said, I can tell you this. I don't know your mother's education background. I don't know any of that. But I can tell you that she already come in this world with strikes against her. Right?
Right.
And I said, you being in here is not helping her. Now she's worried about you. I said, you are a young man. And you may not have had a father figure. I said, everybody in this room, I don't know you, but I love you. And every one of you are young men. I said, it's not cute. It's not, women don't want men that's out here doing what y'all doing. However you got here.
That's right.
We are doing everything we can because we need y'all to be the leaders. We need y'all to be the protectors of the community.
That's right.
But you can't do that in here. And I said, you being in here, you need to get a job. You need to help your mother. That's what I did. I asked my mom, do you want me to pay a bill? Nah, baby, just take care of you. I bought my own school clothes. I bought my own school supply. That's one thing off her plate that she didn't have to worry. And about. She knew I was at work, so I'm not in trouble.
Right. Her heart is at peace.
Right.
Right.
So doing those things made a difference for me. And I said, every one of you in here has a gift, a talent. I don't care if you can draw, you can write, you can cut hair, you can cut grass. Because one said, what if they don't want to hire you? I said, you're a man, ain't you?
Right. You got 2 hands, 2 feet.
I said, go and find work for yourself. You can go and cut grass.
Right.
You can go and do something.
Well, some folks cutting grass, making big money.
That's what.
Big contracts with the city, the county, the
Thank
school
you.
system, all that. Yes.
The trades, welders coming out making $100,000 a year. Come on now.
Yes. It's
I
real.
mean, I would go. I like working with my hands. I would go back and become a mechanic. I like doing stuff.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So.
Right.
And those kind of jobs you don't have to take home.
Come on.
You do your work and you go
gone.
home.
Here go my invoice.
Right.
Yes.
So I just think there's so many avenues, and if we just open our minds to the possibilities.
That's right.
And entrepreneurship is one of those major possibilities. And when you start thinking collaboration over competition in that space, it becomes a wide open thing. Because now we're not all fighting for crumbs, but we're all at the table eating together.
That's it. We all eating together. That's how it should be.
Right. So that's my We done said a lot here.
It was a class. This was a master class right here on public relations. But it's spring break, ladies and gentlemen, and I knew that our sister was going to come in here and do exactly what she did. She came up here and she told it like it is, and she's being an example. You heard how she said her mother was her example? Why? Because she saw her mother. Now imagine how many people you're the example for when people showed us to their children or watch it for themselves.
I hope and pray.
Yeah, y'all heard her say she learned all this from her education at Memphis Shelby County Schools. It was probably Memphis City Schools back then. But shout out to all those teachers, because I'm sure it was some teachers that helped shape you.
Can I name them?
Yeah, man, please name them.
The late great Coach Garmer Curry, Coach Penny Hardaway, Ed Treadwell.
Okay.
He was our history teacher. Rest in peace to Coach. Miss Cora J. Lewis was my English teacher, who inspired me to be a Delta, has supported me as a Delta, pushed me, and to this day, I would still talk to her. Miss Florence Roach, who taught me typing.
You still remember all these folks like that?
I remember stuff from kindergarten, okay? I remember all my teachers from kindergarten on up.
Wow.
Miss Barbara Ellis was my third grade teacher. I love her to death. And Miss Nan Whitworth was our computer teacher. And my coach, Janice Dunn, was my volleyball coach, who really poured into me.
You got a scholarship, you said.
At Tulane I did, but I mean, I wouldn't have been, team captain or all tournament or best of the preps or any of that without her.
I heard her going down the resume, ladies.
I got to drop it in there a little bit.
She dropped it in there real smooth. Best of the preps, and,
my dream was to go to the Olympics, but I still made it there, but I didn't make it how I thought I would.
Right.
You can still go where you want to go.
And nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I had a dream one time. Well, not a dream. I saw Steve Jobs. He was talking to the city council in Palo Alto, where Apple headquarters is.
Right.
And he was telling them, I'm going to build this spaceship-like office building for Apple. And he had to get it approved from the council. And the way he was describing it, I said to myself, I'm going there. Now, I'm way in Europe playing basketball, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go there. So I watched it when it was finally built. I said, yo, that's the spaceship. He didn't make it to see it, but his vision became a reality. So I got a call from a sister, a late woman, a woman from Apple, wanted to know how I was doing stuff here. I said, well, the best way to do it is you come see, right? So the woman came from Apple. She walked in the building, I showed everything. She said, I've never seen a building like this, right? And it was broadcasting. And then she went on to say, we got to bring you to Apple. I didn't tell her my story, right?
Right.
Because I'm like, she probably gassing me up, right? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry if you got to go. I understand. Go do what you got to do. But I want to finish this because she talked on it. So she said, I want to bring a team of folks here. And I want you to, they wanted to bring some iPads. They brought like 30, 40 iPads. And in different parts of the building, we were showing them how to they showed folks how to take pictures, video, how to record, make beats, all of that from the iPad, right? And we had they trained the students trained the district leaders, all the highfalutin folks, right?
Right.
So after that, I get invited to the spaceship, right? And when I got there and I'm looking, I'm like, from the design he posted in the city council meeting, I see it up close and personal. And I said to myself, if you really want something, like you said, the universe will help you get it. And from the time it was there, that was like 5-6 years ago, I'm still deciphering some of the stuff that this man was doing and did, but it was a reason because I said I got to go there. So I
Right.
appreciate you saying,
Yeah.
like you said, I'm going to be PR and I'm gonna go to Grambling State. You may not go to Grambling, but you still
Went to
went to
college.
I want to go to the Olympics. I may not go as this, but I was at the Olympics. So, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, that when she said that is so real. If you see it, you can be. You can do whatever you want to do. Really, if you really, when they say put your mind to it.
Oh yes.
I didn't understand that as a young person.
I understand that.
I understand it now fully because you put your mind on something and you really can do it. I feel like I can do anything I want right now.
There's nothing that I have not been able to accomplish without when I have put my mind to it.
That's it.
There's stuff you can just do. You can kind of phone it in and wing
Right.
it and just, I'm good at that. I can do it.
Right.
But when I put my mind to it,
Yes.
it's like whatever you put your heart into, people receive it.
Yep.
And it just, my podcast would have grown the way it had if I hadn't put my heart and soul into it. Had I not put the love and care into it. Had
Just
I
putting
not
it
put
together
the
and-
drive and the
Right.
initiative.
Driving in it. There go that
Into
word.
it.
There go those words. Wow.
So I
Thank
can't
you.
stress that enough. I can't.
Well, I'm going ahead and put this together as a master class, ladies and gentlemen. Free 99. Y'all can check this out. Replay this because it was a lot of gems that was dropped. And as we don't have no notes in front of us, ladies and gentlemen, this straight coming from heart to heart, telling y'all and sharing with y'all her life journey that got her from, Mitchell Heights
Yep.
all the way to here, ladies and gentlemen. So I thank you. This has been an excellent segment, especially being Women's History Month. This is what it's about.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So I'll give you this. Think of somebody who you think I should interview next.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And really think about, because I want to see that they're doing something, right?
Yeah. I don't deal with people that ain't doing something.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, think about it and let me know because that's how I want to do it.
Okay.
After I have somebody, you know what I'm saying, recommend.
Oh, I have plenty of people.
Yeah, because people like, Brother John, why you have them on there? Why you had them on? Yo, I'm going off recommendation. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful. And this is like our extension of our regular conversation anyway.
Yep, that's it. That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up in about 21 minutes, my brother from the East Coast who's down here in Memphis like myself, Dr. Hutch will be in the building with Huddle Talk. And I got to thank Dr. Hutch because our sister was on Huddle Talk a few weeks ago. And I said, oh, yeah, that's the sister. And she was with another person that's doing excellent work in the community, doing big things. But I said, I got to get my sister on. Something said, get on. And this was it was yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday. I hit her up and said, yo, I need to get you on. And everything, it's like what we said. I already knew this was going to happen by having you on. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Hutch will be up here in about 20 minutes to give you his Huddle Talk. Brother John's getting back to the music. Kavan J, thank you. Kavan J's in the back holding it down, making sure this stream goes across the social media airwaves. And y'all share the video. Share it with some of our young journalists. If you got somebody that's writing up on all your notepads and books at home, show them this video so they can see, man, I can turn that writing into something serious. We are the only station you and your family can agree on. We are 88.5 FM.
Yay.
Posting a story. I'm just changing the song.